Welcome to sports. Getting back on track. That's what the 83-64 win against San Jose State meant for the Lobos as they now move on to host Air Force. As was expected, Boise State ranked #1 in the Mountain West preseason poll along with San Diego State. But it was the unknown that was the topic of discussion at day one of Mountain West Media Day. Who will start at quarterback? Thanks, Jess. Yep, Durango was the first stop on this 5-city tour of southern Colorado. So a lot of people think the bull riding lifestyle is a little crazy, going town to town, rodeo to rodeo, putting their life on the line.
Put here, right?
Yeah, let them know you're coming.
But they do it because the thrill is second to none.
That adrenaline rush leading up to it, I think, is mainly what hooks guys to it, because this sport's very addicting.
That was better.
You can't control what the bull's going to do, but you can control how you're going to counter-react and make the moves to do your job. It's hard to explain that adrenaline rush that you get. It really is.
Thanks, Alex. It was a big game for Lobo football today, taking on Air Force at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. A win here would get them back to 500 on the year and better their chances at another 6-win season. We will start in the first quarter. Opening drive for the Lobos, and welcome back Terry Gibson in the second play of the opening drive. He goes 41 yards, setting up a touchdown. None other than Richard McCorley. Lobos go up 7, and the D stepped it up early, forcing an Air Force 49-yard field goal in their opening drive, making it 7-3. But later, more Lobos and more Terrion Gibson. Turn me up and turn me loose. The Gipper hits the hole and goes 60 yards on the option pitch for the touchdown. 14-3. The Lobos now lead. All right, switching classes now. Week 7 high school football still going on this afternoon. We start with Sandia hosting Santa Fe at Wilson, and right away the Matadors were pressing. Olay, Jacob Archibek on the play action as a man deep, finds a leaping Devin Woosley. He adds on some yards to move the chains, 40 yards on that play, and later Dennis Hayden would cap off the 3-play drive with a punch-in. Sandia takes the early 7-0 lead, and this one was all Matador. Same score, Sandia's second possession now. They start off with Hayden this time. He shimmies his way to the outside, and he gone. Dennis Hayden goes 55 yards before getting pulled down inside the 5-yard line. That led to another Sandia touchdown. They go on to win big, 55-0. The final. All right, to Milne, it was Del Norte's homecoming game hosting Los Alamos. We start in the second. Knights already up 14-0, and the big man Avery C makes it 20-0, finding the end zone easily here. It was 21 after PAT, but the Knights weren't done yet. Later in the quarter, Chris Baca gets it this time, and he takes it 21 yards for the touchdown. The Knights go on to win big, 52-14. The final. All right, we finished with another Class 5A district battle. Academy hosting Espanola, and the Sun Devils' first drive, DeAndre Curtis gets the pitch in. No Charger was going to stop him. Curtis sprints 51 yards for the game-opening touchdown. 6-0 Sun Devils after a missed PAT, but Academy's Joe Greer says, hey, anything you can do, I can do better. In the following drive, Greer puts his head down and goes for gold. 61 yards for the game-tying touchdown. It was a back-and-forth battle, but in the end, Espanola goes on to pull it out 24-20. The final. Holly Holm silenced the critics and shocked the world by defeating Ronda Rousey, an opponent most thought was unbeatable. Holly Holm didn't just win her fight against Ronda Rousey last night, she dominated. She gained the support of the fans in Melbourne, and of course had the entire state of New Mexico behind her in this momentous event in UFC history.
When she took her out, it was bedlam. It was amazing.
Yelling and clapping is fantastic.
I mean, she's a hometown heroine.
Holly controlled the tempo of this bout the entire time, keeping the distance with her jab and preventing this fight from going to the ground. But in the end, it was a lethal kick to the jaw that finished it. It was a shocking moment, a culmination of all the hard work she's put in. And it wasn't until she looked at her corner and saw her coaches that reality set in.
As soon as the fight was over, and I looked over and they said, we did it, we knew you could do this, and you came in and you did it. And that was the moment right there.
8 months ago, the racing community here in Albuquerque took a major hit. One of their own was down for the count, but Josh Jackson's journey to where he is now is nothing short of a miracle.
Racers are notorious for not getting along. The competition and a lot of things happen quickly on the track. Joshua Jackson has been racing since he was 5 years old.
I've known Joshua since I was about 6 years old.
A gearhead with oil running through his veins.
We both started racing quarter midgets together.
And his drive and determination definitely showed out on the track.
We raced all over the country. A lot of racing in California. He won lots of races.
But on the 8th of August at the Southern New Mexico Speedway in Las Cruces,
it was just a freak accident that I guess couldn't be avoided.
Josh's life would change forever.
Actually, what happened during the flip, a car hit right on the top of the roll cage and hit his head with the front bumper.
Eerie feeling seeing somebody look lifeless in a race car.
Josh, involved in a bad crash while racing his sprint car, had sustained major injuries to his head, cracking a large portion of his skull.
I was still under the impression that everything was fine.
But it wasn't, as he was airlifted to the hospital in El Paso.
The neurosurgeon came in and he said,
He told us that there was not much.
we were told initially that he'd probably never walk again. He'd more than likely never talk again.
But the words give up are not in Josh's vocabulary. The 18-year-old left El Paso and began his rehabilitation at a hospital in Denver.
They just wouldn't take no for an answer. They made him perform.
Josh made huge strides, going from completely paralyzed on his right side to using his arms and even walking for the first time since the accident. But it was an unorthodox treatment that showed the most improvement.
Anytime we left the hospital, Mom, there's an indoor track. I know there is. And I'm like, Josh, no, that's not going to happen. I gave in and I said, okay, let's do this.
Josh now goes to the track whenever he can, doing something that just comes natural. But what he didn't know is that this journey is much bigger than it seemed.
The entire racing community, no matter how competitive you are on the track, or if you had a beef the night before, that everybody just dropped everything to help Josh was amazing.
Josh's journey has influenced many lives.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But his story is still being written, with the next chapter being getting back in a real race car.
A year before I can fully do it, but I didn't.
It might be harder for Josh to get into a car, but one thing is for sure.
It was good.
While behind the wheel, all the odds are even, and Josh knows how to finish first. Welcome back. It's now time to get to Chester's Pick 6, the top 6 plays or players from the week. Number 6 comes from Santa Fe, but this one was all La Cueva. Chris Campbell hits Reese Wilkinson on the flat. And just like world-famous race car driver Ricky Bobby, Reese wants to go fast. 55 yards to the house, shake and bake. All right, to number 5, Nimmy's Gavin Maloney dumps off a pass to the Italian stallion Fausto Barazzini. And with the eye of the tiger, Fausto goes 59 yards up the gut for a touchdown. Talk about a haymaker to the body. You are not a bum rock. All right, for number 4, we take it to Thursday Night Valleys. Isaiah Chavez finds Xavier Ortiz over the middle. He breaks a tackle, and Ortiz is dangerous. A man on a mission can't be stopped. He goes 64 yards to the house en route to the Vikings' first win of the season. Score one for the judge. All right, number 3 comes from Eastern New Mexico University's homecoming game last night. Logan native Wyatt Strand hits Aaron Johnson and released the Hounds. Johnson goes 80 yards before finding the point box. Go Greyhounds. All right, number 2 now from yesterday's Lobo game. Terrion Gibson returns from a week off in a big way. This 60-yard touchdown was the cherry on top of a 140-yard rushing day. The Gipper averaged 15 yards per carry, a key in this Lobo victory. And number 1 had to go to this kid, Albuquerque Academy's Charles Touche. He was a net-finding machine against Capital. Give him the hat trick after those 3 goals. Touche is now at a ridiculous 28 goals on the season. And also, congrats to him. The first number 1 spot from soccer this Pick 6 season.
I was going to say a lot of football in there,
exactly.
But finally other football.
Exactly. European football.
Oh.
The mood out here is definitely exciting. Free music, free food. Stay tuned at 10 as I'll have more from the players and the fans. But until then, reporting live, Jared Chester, News 13 Sports, Durango, Colorado. Jess, back to you.
All right, thank you.